people assume friendship happens organically. It does not in adulthood, because there's this sociologist, Rebecca Adams, and she says you need repeated, unplanned interaction, like you might get at school or work, and shared vulnerability for friendship to happen more organically. But look at our adult lives, and a lot of us don't have that anymore. Like in school, that was recess, that was lunch, that was gym. But as adults, it's like we have work where we see each other every day, but we're not being vulnerable all the time with our coworkers. And a lot of people have anxieties around that. So what that means is if you rely on the same template that you relied on as a kid, you're going to end up lonely because you're not inhabiting the same environments that you inhabited. So friendship doesn't happen organically. Like you are, as an adult, you're going to have to make it happen. And part of the ways that you can do that is that you can recreate continuous unplanned interaction and shared vulnerability. So I tell people, join a social group that meets repeatedly. Stick to it for a few months, because at first it's going to be uncomfortable. There's this effect called the mere exposure effect, which is that the more that we are exposed to people, the more that we like them. Completely unconscious. These women were planted into psychology lectures. And at the end of the semester, people reported liking the woman who showed up to the most lectures 20% more than the woman that didn't show up for any. But they didn't remember any of the women. So it's completely unconscious. So what that means is, like, once you join that social group, I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm not connecting with people, I have to like duck out. But I'm like, okay, you shouldn't expect to feel so connected after meeting people once. Like, you're going to have to stay for like 2 to 3 months, unless you really hate it. Give it 2 to 3 months. And then I think another part of initiative, we show up and we don't talk to anyone. And that's something called covert avoidance, which is I show up physically, but I check out mentally. I'm on my phone, I'm in the corner, I'm talking to the one person I already know. And initiative means that we overcome that. We say, hi, my name is Marissa. How do you enjoy this place? We introduce ourselves to other people. We do all the things that we hope people will do for us, right? Be warm, welcoming, engage us in conversation. And we start doing that for other people. And so initiative, I mean, that's just key. If you're not initiating, we can't get to the rest of the steps because we haven't made the friends to deepen and maintain the friendships.
That maintaining friendships, the habits and rituals of people that stay in that engaged relationship, saying that it doesn't happen organically as much anymore. It's so true. It's so true. I feel like recess was amazing. I wish we had adult recess, because man, remember how fun that was? You you had a game planned already. Everyone knew what they were doing. You had to experience the social dynamics of getting picked last or middle, like whatever. My boys chase the girls, all the different girls chase the boys. All these different ways that we develop socially. And I think when I first moved to Vancouver years ago, I got brought to this dinner and I didn't know anybody except for my friend who brought me. And I was talking to the host and all the food was provided. It was like this big, and there must have been 25 people there. And I was asking the host, like, how often do you do this? They're like, oh, we do it every week. And we tell anyone who's coming that they're free to bring a friend that we don't know. And I was like, why do you do this? Yeah. And they were immigrants. And they said that because when we first moved here, we didn't have family and community. And so we wanted to start to build that for people when they move here or they don't know anyone here, that they don't have to think about bringing food, that they can if they want, but they don't have to, that they're taken care of. And I was like, this is amazing. And so we started to do a family dinner every week or two where we would just choose a theme of food and everybody in the friend group could bring somebody and we would, have Mexican one night and Italian another. And it was so amazing. That's one of the things I really miss about Vancouver is just that group of people and all the people you would meet. And there are marriages and kids and relationships that are formed from those experiences of meeting each other, which is so awesome, which is really how we meet our romantic partners too, not just Tinder and Bumble and Match.com and Hinge, but actually through this organic, although it's interesting you were saying organic versus that, was it initiative?
Initiative, yeah.
It feels like they're both, like initiative can be organic, right? What did you see as the greatest ways to do that?
Like to mother or to father someone as a dynamic state rather than a static one. Like I don't have to be your mother to be mothering sometimes for you, or your father to be fathering sometimes for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm blurring the lines between all types of relationships, but there's times in a friendship where we may be called to mother. There's times in a friendship where we may be called to father. Shouldn't be the whole friendship. But I think we can see these roles as a lot more dynamic than we typically see them. And it's beautiful when people experience that mothering from friends. And then your second question, the first that I really like is like, if you're lonely, reconnect with someone, because research finds that when you reach out to someone to reconnect, they actually appreciate it more than people predict. I think sometimes we think people have moved on with their lives, they don't want to hear from me, when that tends to not be as true as we think. So, first step is like, is there someone you were texting this time last year that you wish you were still texting now? And can you reach out to them to catch up? The second one would be to join a group that meets repeatedly over time. And once you find someone in that group that you get along with, ask them to hang out one-on-one, because creating connection in some ways is about like positive segregation, like having some degree of exclusive memories and experiences with a person that you don't have with everyone else. So asking someone in the group, hey, next time when we have our soccer game, do you like want to meet up before, catch up, get some coffee, get some tea, something like that. I also like initiative that looks like you kind of, I guess people would do this more in dating, but like, let's say you move to a new city and you're like, really looking to connect with people. Do you know anyone I might get along with who you could put me in touch with? And I think you can do that in your, even if you've been in the same city, by saying like, hey, I'm really looking to expand my social network after the pandemic. Like, is there anyone cool that you know that you might want to put me in touch with?